It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, and this show is brought to you by CartKing.com. It's 877-986-7771. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add additional point-of-sale locations across the country. Maybe the facility you manage right now could add additional revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, food, carts, and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. So no matter what kind of business you're in, you go to cart-king.com, you check out their different styles and models, carts, kiosks, booths, and then you which one applies to your business, you give them a call, 877-986-7771. They'll custom design it for you, custom build it, and then ship it worldwide. Okay. Let me get our guest here off of mute. We have a returning guest, John Potash, from the wonderful film. It's just hit the bookstores, and it's on Amazon now. Drugs as Weapons Against Us. You can find his website, johnpotash.com. On there, too, there's a link to his other fascinating book. We've had him on the show, The FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders. But today, like I said, we're going to be talking once again about drugs as weapons against us. John, are you there?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ed.
Hey, it's always great to have you on, man.
Thanks a lot.
I know you're a busy guy, too, man. You're out there running around like crazy.
Yeah.
So tell us, remind the audience, who is John Potash?
Well, I work as a counselor for a living, and on the side, I do a lot of writing. And, I've written 2 books now, The FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders, and Drugs as Weapons Against Us, with the long subtitle, The CIA's Murderous Targeting of SDS, Panthers, Hendricks, Lennon, Cobain, Tupac, and Other Activists. And so I turned the first book into a very rudimentary movie film. And the second book I've turned into a much more elaborate film with the different subtitle, The CIA War on Musicians and Activists. And counseling is what, is my day job and what pays my bills. Yeah, I'm just trying to do some activism on the side. I just happen to get a nice distributor, I'll say, who's got me on in a lot of places in terms of, getting me in. Now you can see my film. You can rent it on places like iTunes, you can rent it on Vudu, Vimeo, Google Play, YouTube Rent. You can also buy it at Barnes & Noble, as you mentioned. You can buy it at Best Buy. You can buy it through Walmart and through Target. Now, I know Walmart and Target, they just ship it. I know Barnes & Noble has it in some stores. And we'll see about whether Best Buy is going to have it in their stores or they're just shipping it.
Okay, and you can also get it direct at johnpotash.com. John will mail it to himself, which is better than going through Walmart, Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Supporting the artists more than supporting Walmart, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, they got enough of our money, man. Walmart.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, so you come to this, your counseling is drug counseling, right?
Well, no, my counseling is all kinds of counseling. My expertise these days with training in the last few years is in trauma work. And so people have been through all kinds of different trauma, whether it be sexual abuse, physical abuse, war trauma, et cetera. But I also have an expertise in addictions counseling. So I've got a strong percentage of people I counsel with addictions, a strong percentage with trauma, and then a strong percentage with just disorders in general.
And don't you find that many people with addictions, it's based because they've had some early childhood trauma?
Yeah, with women more so. The statistics say that about 70% of female addicts had some abuse in their life of some form, physical or sexual. But men, it's not as much so. Men, there can be more. It just tends to be more general addiction in men for some reason. though sure, a percentage of men, I'm not sure the exact percentage, could be 20, 30% might have had some kind of abuse in their life, but it's different for men.
And have you ever seen anything like we're experiencing now with the heroin addiction and people on these opiates and stuff?
I don't see. Look, heroin addiction has been around for decades now. Vietnam War really sent heroin addiction soaring when they were, getting the CIA was sending all that heroin from the Vietnam area, the Golden Triangle for poppy fields, into the United States. And I have John Stockwell, CIA agent whistleblower, talking about that. I also have Judy Woodruff of Frontline saying, here's the CIA document admitting their heroin trafficking from Vietnam to the United States. And but today, yes, the Afghanistan area is supplying a vast amount of heroin. So it might be, even higher than it was during the Vietnam War era. And there's, you've probably heard in the news of these pharmaceutical companies pushing painkillers like crazy that are getting so many people addicted to, opiates in general. And then when they feel like when they're building up more of a tolerance and the painkillers aren't enough, they've turned to heroin, sadly enough.
Yeah, and what I've noticed too, because coming from, I lived in New York City back in the 70s and the 80s. I lived back in New York City, and where you used to have to drive to Harlem, or drive to the Alphabet City to get your heroin. But now it's like a whole community of heroin addicts and opiate addicts who hand to hand supply each other with small amounts. It's a whole. So what happens is once you get addicted in that culture, all your friends, the people you associate with, they're all part of that same addiction.
It does seem to be the case, right?
It's a nightmare, and I can't see how people can extract themselves with that kind of thing once they get so deep into it. I don't see how they can extract themselves.
Well, it takes having the parents practice tough love and stop it. You have to get all the enablers out of the picture, and you have to make the addict see a serious bottom, meaning either homelessness, loss of work and homelessness, and being jailed as a consequence of their addiction, or else they're not going to turn it around. They're not going to change, sadly enough.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but very often, too, I find that the parents are addicts, too. The parents are my age. They got 20-year-old kids, and the parents have been an addict for 20 years, and now their kid's an addict. It's just
addiction's very genetic, so that can often be the case, too. It's true.
It's a nightmare. So now the film has just become available, like I said, on Amazon. It's just become available to the public, right?
Just in the past week and a half, sure.
So now, what's the kind of reaction you're getting?
Yeah, I mean, people are telling me great, really nice things about it. They're saying all kinds of very nice things about it, so I'm very happy. I mean, when I was taking it through film festivals, I won about 13 awards at different festivals, and I was selected for about 35 different festivals. So I'm very happy about that already. And I actually did things a little backwards and got a distributor before I started going through the film festivals. Don't ask me why. I just didn't know how it all worked, and I was just so happy to get anyone offering me distribution because so many people didn't, just wouldn't even talk to me about my film because it's so controversial. So to get, a major distributor saying they distributed it, I was just so happy. Now, sadly enough, I thought they were going to try to put it in theaters, and they weren't, and they didn't tell me that when I signed the contract. So that's too bad, but I'm just glad to get the word out any which way.
Yeah, we watched it on the big screen at the Love Film Festival in Beverly Hills back, I guess it was around August. We went out there and saw, because I'm in the film. The audience should know that this is the film that I'm in. Me and Hank Harrison have a little clip in this movie. And it was very well received by the audience. Everybody loved it that was there. I enjoyed it, too, very much. Very, very excellent film, very educational, a lot of great content in here.
Thanks so much, yeah.
Now, what about the portion, though, the Kurt Cobain portion, though? How are people receiving that? Because it's such a controversial topic, and people, especially true crime fans, they think they got everything figured out, and everybody has their own theory. How is your presentation being received?
Well, nobody has told me what they think about it yet, to be honest. I just haven't heard. They just told me about the film in general, a few people. I just haven't heard enough feedback, except, I had one guy review the film that gave it a real positive review and was very fascinated by the Kurt Cobain stuff. Another reviewer highlighted when she gave a good review, she highlighted the Kurt Cobain stuff. But no one's really given me like direct feedback on a lot of specifics about the Kurt Cobain section of the film.
Well, why don't you lay out your theory of the Cobain situation?
So, there's my theory in the book is fully hashed out because I have a lot of pages to do that with. But people have to understand my book's about 430 pages. Where, inside, with those pages, a lot of them's endnotes and pictures, but nonetheless, it's somewhere between 300 to 400 pages of just regular content. And the film is a 60-page script to be a 2-hour film. So it's got to be much less in there. So I couldn't give every detail of my theory in the film that I have in the book. So the film I'll just talk about more right now it shows all the evidence that basically it starts with John Stockwell talking about how in the late 80s, I have footage of him from being interviewed in the late 80s saying that his fellow CIA agents talking about them trafficking the heroin from the Golden Crescent area, the second, the other best area for growing poppies and producing opium and heroin. It was around the Afghanistan region. It's the other end of the same mountain range as the Golden Triangle in the Vietnam area. Okay, here's all tons of heroin starting to come in from that Golden Crescent area to the United States. And I show the evidence that they had to, they were worried about demand matching supply. So they psychologically profiled different musicians the same way they'd done in the 60s when they manipulated a lot of musicians to use different drugs, like dosing John Lennon with acid and undercover agent convincing Mick Jagger to use his first hit of acid in 1967 with Lennon was 65. And all that was happening then. But so here we are now in the early 90s, like around 1990, and they got all this heroin coming in, but the demand's not matching supply. So I show the evidence that they psychologically profiled Kurt Cobain because he had a massive stomach problem that was leaving him incredible pain. And in his own diaries, he said he had tried heroin to handle that pain. After trying all the medications and nothing working, he tried heroin about 3 or 4 times in about 4 years or so. I said, I think it was maybe 6 times total in 4 years. But once his album Nevermind, for Nirvana's Nevermind started rising in the charts, like really, in a meteoric way going up the charts, all of a sudden into his life comes Courtney Love. She happened to be dating Billy Corgan, and she's at a party with Kurt Cobain. She just leaves Billy Corgan high and dry and puts all her attention on Kurt Cobain. They end up dating, and she gets pregnant very fast, and he marries her because of her pregnancy. He marries her with a prenuptial agreement. And now everybody, I show quotes of people from the scene, all the friends of those two, saying that she appeared to, she got Cobain using heroin daily for the first time in his life, and she was very manipulative with that. But then I show the evidence that he was divorcing her within the last months of their marriage. And he actually had already gotten completely sober. He found a medication which cured his stomach problem. And I have him talking about that in an interview in the film. And then I show the evidence that he did a blood test in Rome because he had gone into a coma when he was really didn't want to see Courtney Love, but he wanted to see his daughter, and so she took Frances Bean Cobain over to see him when he was in Rome, touring in Rome. She had been in England playing music in England, but she gotten a sleep medication in England where it's legal to prescribe Rohypnol for sleep, and Rohypnol is roofies, and so she gets over there, and all of a sudden he's passed out in a coma. She waits a while to call an ambulance. She calls an ambulance, and she's puts on full makeup by the time they come there. And when they tested him at the Rome hospital,